Genesis, first of all, go with me to Genesis, the 11th chapter. Genesis, the 11th chapter. Yes, indeed. Believe me that the inside joke is on me, so don't anyone need to feel uncomfortable. It's on me. Genesis, the 11th chapter. And let's just read the first verses of that 11th chapter. Are you ready? And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. This is unity, brothers and sisters, in God's intention. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar. And they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city, and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad on the face of the whole earth. Now, first of all, I want you to see that this was done in the land of Shinar. And it said, let us build a tower that will reach unto heaven. Now, if you look at that and study that out, it's got a religious connotation or a religious purpose to it. Let us build a tower and we'll reach God our way. Now, look with me, backing up to Genesis 10, reading the 10th verse. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Iraq, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Babel in the land of Shinar, the beginning of a kingdom of Nimrod, is in Babel, the land of Shinar. Go with me to the book of Daniel, to the first chapter of the book of Daniel. Ezekiel, Daniel, the first chapter and the second verse. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God, he being Nebuchadnezzar. So we've got the land of Shinar, which was a land that was built out of rebellion in religious worship. It is the beginning of the nation of Babylon. They're identified. Now, look with me at Zechariah, the 5th chapter. Go to Matthew and turn left 2 books, and you'll find Zechariah. Look with me at the 5th chapter. And the 5th verse. Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up now thine eyes, and see what it is that goeth forth. And I said, What is it? And he said, This is an ephah that goeth forth. He said, Moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead, and this is the woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, This is wickedness. And he cast it into the midst of the ephah, and he cast the weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. Then lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork. And they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, Whither do these bear the ephah? And he said unto me, To build it in the house, to build it an house in the land of Shinar. And it shall be established and set there upon its own base. God said wickedness will be established and based in the land of Shinar, Babylon. and it will be established as a place of worship. Now, he said this worship, this wickedness, would reach all of the earth. From there. All of the earth would be reached from there, from this established base in Shinar. Look with me now at 2 Thessalonians. And the 2nd chapter and the 7th verse. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. The mystery of iniquity doth already work. This established in Babylon, this religion, is the mystery of iniquity. It has been established even further back than Babel. It was established in the beginning, before the beginning. He said this is the mystery of iniquity. Now look with me at 1 Timothy. Timothy 3:16. And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up into glory. Here we have the mystery of iniquity and the mystery of godliness. They are two parallel entities that run from the beginning and before throughout time. These two mysteries. One of them consummates, as far as man is concerned, in the bride of Christ, spoken of in Ephesians 5, 25 through 32, where it says that the bride of Christ, the church is the bride of Christ, without spot. The mystery of iniquity consummates in the whore in the 17th chapter of the book of Revelation, with all the blood of the drinking from the vessel with all the blood of the saints. These are the parallel entities that run side by side. Now, going back to Daniel, to the 1st chapter, for a moment. Where we read before, in the 2nd verse, it says, And the Lord God gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand. Let's go on down into his hand. With part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. The only true enemy to the mystery of godliness is and has always been the mystery of iniquity. And the only true enemy to the mystery of iniquity is the mystery of godliness. You cannot defeat the devil, only God can. And only the devil can defeat the church through this mystery. What this mystery is, it is always the same. It never changes. It is when the vessels of God are taken into the house of his God and used there in worship. When that which is to be God's is used to worship something other than God, it is the deception of the mystery of iniquity. That is